Hello students and welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Pooja Waliaman from SGI Samalkha. Today we are going to talk on the module Challenges in Managing Service Quality from the paper Services Marketing. Students, let us see what we are going to learn in this module. In this module, you will learn the meaning of service quality, meaning of service quality management, challenges in managing service quality, and overcoming these challenges. As a consumer, you expect services to offer you satisfaction of the needs at the most reasonable price. As a service manager, do you think it is always possible to offer high service quality standards at the most economical rates? Maybe you will have to think twice before agreeing with me on this question. That is so because it is not always feasible to offer the highest standards of quality, meeting the expectations of the consumers at the lowest possible prices. There are several factors inhibiting the service managers in offering the service quality which is perceived to have satisfied the consumer's expectations. In this module, we will look at the various hindrances in the way of offering high service quality and the means to overcome the same to earn that competitive advantage. Let us first talk about service quality management. The process of managing the quality of services delivered to a customer according to his expectations is called service quality management. It basically assesses how well a service has been given so as to improve its quality in the future, identify problems and correct them to increase customer satisfaction. Service quality and assessment of how well a service delivered conforms to the client's expectation is yet another point. Service business operators often assess the service quality provided to their customers in order to improve their service, to quickly identify problems, and to better assess the client satisfaction. A business with high service quality will meet customer needs while remaining competitive. The aim may be to achieve an understanding and improving the operational process by identifying problems quickly and systematically establishing valid and reliable service performance measure, thereby measuring customer satisfaction. From the viewpoint of business service quality, it is an achievement in customer service which can be reflected at each service encounter. Customers form service expectations from past experience, word of mouth, and advertising. In general, customers compare the perceived service with expected service, in which, if the former falls short, the latter feels disappointed. The measurement of subjective aspect depends upon conformity of expected benefit with the perceived results of the service. This, in turn, depends upon the customer's expectations in terms of service that they might receive and the service provider's ability to provide that level of expected service. Successful companies add benefits to their offerings that not only satisfy the customers but also surprise and delight them. Delighting customer is a matter of exceeding customers' service expectations. Sometimes service quality may be related to service potential also. For example, a manager's qualification and the quickness of service may result in a higher level of service quality. We may say that the service quality is a comparison of the perception of the consumer of having received a level of service quality and the expectations from that particular service that the consumer had. Service quality is nothing but the difference between the service expectation and the service actually received by the customers through his own level of perception. The process of managing the quality of services delivered to a customer according to his expectation is called service quality management. It basically assesses how well a service has been given so as to improve its quality in the future, identify problems, and correct them to increase the customer satisfaction. Let us talk about the various dimensions of service quality. Measuring of service quality relies on the customer's perception, and this could be different from the expected service. A customer expectation of a particular service is determined by factors such as recommendation, personal needs, and the past experience. The expected and the perceived service may sometimes not be equal, and thus comes the service gap into picture. The first dimension of service quality is reliability. This is the ability to perform the service dependably and accurately as promised at the time of service negotiations. In software service, it would be the correct technical functioning of the application and various features like billing or product information, etc. The second dimension of service quality is responsiveness. That means how quickly the services are rendered to the customer and the promptness of service delivery. With respect to software services, it would be the ability to respond to the customer's problems or give solutions to their problems. The third dimension of service quality is assurance. This is a measure of the ability to convey trust to the customers and how well they extend the courtesy. Software assurance involves the amount of confidence the customer has in handling the software application or in the navigation of a site, the belief he has on the information provided and its clarity or reputation, etc. The next dimension of service quality is empathy. It refers to giving personalized attention, understanding the requirements, and being caring for the customer's needs. Coming back to the software services, empathy would include customized applications, one-to-one customer attention, security privacy, and a better understanding of the customer's preferences. The last dimension of service quality refers to tangibles. These are the physical attributes like appearance, equipment, facilities. Because the services are intangible in nature, this dimension of service quality is highly significant. When we speak of the software services, the tangibles would be aesthetics of the software application or the website, navigational features, accessibility or the flexibility, etc. Having discussed the dimensions of service quality, let us talk about the importance of managing service quality. As discussed, service quality relates to the customer, and it is important for organizations to be consumer focused in all of their activities undertaken. Many organizations find that how customers are treated is of equal importance, if not greater, in their memory than the product or the service which is at the core level itself. We all know that it is the negative customer experiences we tend to remember rather than the positive ones. It is also more likely that it is the bad experiences we as potential consumers would tell others. Most major companies and organizations have launched quality management and improvement programs and have committed themselves to listening to their customers. In the public sector, central government departments and agencies have adopted charters setting out standards. Local councils and health authorities have developed several initiatives, including major cultural change projects, quality assurance units, and increased public consultation. Generally, a much greater emphasis has been placed on responding to customers in the recent years. To be able to manage the service quality, the organizations need to set objectives with precise targets, commit resources to achieving those targets, measure whether they have met their targets, and lastly, to review these targets. Now, students, let us look at the various challenges in service quality management. The task of improving service in organization is complex. It involves knowing what to do on multiple fronts such as technology, service system, employee selection, training and education, and the reward system. It involves knowing how to implement these actions and how to transform activity into sustainable development of the organization. While product quality is measured through its ability to meet the user's requirement and the value of its features and characteristics, service quality is more of a comparison of customers' expectations and the service performance perception. Though the principles of improving product quality are applicable to services as well, it's very important to know the focus areas of improvement with respect to increasing customer satisfaction when it comes to service quality management. This can be done by measuring the gap between customers' expectations and how they perceive the services offered to them. The larger the gap size, the more improvements to be made. Dissatisfied customers hurt the long-term profits and success of service organizations. due to, firstly, the failure of the customer to return for future business. Secondly, reduction in the customer's frequency of visits. And lastly, negative word of mouth publicity. ServQual, also known as Rater, is a quality management framework. We have discussed about its origin in various other service quality modules. It highlights the main components of high quality service. In addition to being a measurement model, it is also a management model. The ServQual authors identified 5 gaps that may cause customers to experience poor service quality. Let us discuss these service gaps one by one. The first refers to the requirements gap. This is the first gap, which is the result of the ignorance of marketers' understanding of what the consumer desires or expects. Failure to identify the consumer's core need for buying a service results in a requirements gap. This gap can be addressed by a number of actions, like through a marketing research, which is a systematically planned and implemented marketing system which can help management in identifying what the consumers seek and desire while purchasing a service. Now, gap 2, that is the design gap. This is the second gap which may occur due to the basic design of the service being offered to the consumer. The marketers may fail to incorporate satisfactory service standards and hence may not be able to design a quality service. The third gap refers to the quality specification and delivery gap. This is the gap between service quality specification and service delivery. This gap may arise through service personnel being poorly trained, incapable, or unwilling to meet the set service standards. The possible major reasons for this gap could be the deficiencies in HR policies, ineffective internal marketing, failure to match demand and supply, and lack of proper customer education and training. The fourth gap refers to the imbalance between promotional communication and internal performance. Gap 4 is the difference between the service delivery and external communication. Consumer expectations are highly influenced by statements made by the company representatives and the advertisements. The gap arises when these assumed expectations are not fulfilled at the time of delivery of the service. For example, the hospital printed on the brochure may have clean and furnished rooms, but in reality, it may be poorly maintained, in which case the patient's expectations are not met. The discrepancy between the actual service and the promised may occur due to any of the reasons like overcommitting in external communication campaign, failure to manage and understand the customer's expectations, and lastly, failure to perform according to the promised specifications. And the last is satisfaction gap, which we also call as gap 5. The satisfaction gap is between the expected service and experienced service. This gap arises when the consumer misinterprets the service quality. For example, a physician may keep visiting the patient to show and ensure care, but the patient may interpret this as an indication that something is really wrong with him. Let us talk about the most important aspect of this module: overcoming the challenges in managing service quality. According to various studies conducted, an improvement in service design and delivery help achieve higher levels of service quality. Sometimes a service design change and enhancement in the facilities provided may go a long way in achieving customer satisfaction. However, in service delivery, changes can be brought about in service delivery process with an ease, because the environment in which the service delivery takes place will yield a proper interaction between customers and service providers. The relationship between the service performance measures and to determine the operational improvements that can be required to increase customer satisfaction. This is used to make improvement plans in order to increase the level of consumer satisfaction. A service culture revolves around the appreciation of good service, and offering good service is considered a natural part of the life in the organization. Some of the values that are embedded in a service culture include joy, teamwork, integrity, excellence, social profit, innovation, and respect amongst the employees of the service firm. Developing a service culture can improve performance and create competitive advantage. However, it may take a long time before it is embraced by the employees. The priority of the service team should be to collect the right information from whatever source is available with them and measure it quantitatively for better service performance. Service performance measures evaluates the current performance of the service and ensures that it is continuing to reliably meet the design specification. Customer measure indicates the impact of service performance on the customers. The correlation between the monetary and customer measure determine the revenue generating potential of the business. This arrangement can reveal the increase in customer satisfaction, especially when the company is competing against its competitors, and hence companies can make use of such information in future. Quality, as we understand, is an increasingly important variable to gauge the service firm's competitiveness today. But it is not easy to either measure or ensure high quality services despite the desire of the management and the consumers to do so. This is because it is important to investigate what the consumers wish to receive in a service and then design the service accordingly. This understanding of the consumer's needs and service quality deliverability has to be shared with the service personnel so that the same level of quality is delivered at each service encounter. While there may be a number of reasons which may cause a gap of service performance, there are various other hindrances in the actual delivery of quality service. The service manager needs to keep these obstacles in view to design a service production and delivery plan in such a way so as to overcome all the challenges as we've discussed in this module. So students, let us now summarize what we have understood in this module. Service quality refers to the consumer's perception of meeting of their expectations by a given service delivery. A service marketer may attempt to offer the best service quality, yet if the consumer does not perceive it to be so, he may fail to satisfy the consumers or make a high quality seller impression amongst the target consumers. There could be a number of reasons responsible for the failure on the part of the service manager to offer high quality services, some of which may be controllable and other may be uncontrollable. Given the understanding of the factors leading to a service gap, the service manager can put efforts to overcome these gaps. Such management of overcoming the challenges may sometimes include just the training of the service personnel, and sometimes it may need a complete overhaul in the basic service design. The service manager needs to keep these obstacles in view to design a service production and delivery plan in such a way so as to overcome these challenges. Thank you.